Madam, you are the host now.
Okay, good afternoon. So today we are going to discuss the topic respiration in plants. Earlier in the earlier session also I have discussed this topic. I'll be continuing it today. So in the previous session I have completed glycolysis. Today I'll be discussing the topic that is Krebs cycle and further topics. Okay. So let us begin with Krebs cycle. Question number 32. In presence of TPP and carboxylase, pyruvic acid is transformed into option 1 acetyl CoA and carbon dioxide, and option 2 one second, sorry. Right. Option 2 you can see on the screen, ethyl alcohol and carbon dioxide. Option 3 is citric acid in carbon dioxide, and option 4 is none of these. So what is the question, students? This question is on Krebs cycle. That is nothing but the first step prior to Krebs cycle. Pyruvic acid is transformed into basically acetyl CoA and carbon dioxide. So option number 1 is your answer here. Ethyl alcohol and carbon dioxide are produced in anaerobic respiration. Citric acid and carbon dioxide. Citric acid is produced in the first step of Krebs cycle, which is not the answer. So option 1 is the answer, acetyl CoA and carbon dioxide. Same thing you can see here on the main screen. The diagram where you can see this pyruvate is converting into acetyl CoA with the liberation of carbon dioxide molecule. So related to that, the question is asked. Now let us come to the question. Next question 33. How many carbon atoms are in S, T and U? So you have to understand, students, number of carbon atoms in compound S, compound T and compound U. So let us see what is S, T and U here in this diagram. S is nothing but pyruvate, which is already mentioned here. T is citric acid and U is oxaloacetic acid. Okay. So how many carbons are there in pyruvic acid? We all know that pyruvate consists of 3 carbons. So S is 3C. Citric acid consists of 6 carbons. So T is 6C. Citric acid converting into alpha ketogluteric acid, which is 5C. Of course, which is not asked here, but you should know. Succinate consists of 4C, malate 4C, and oxaloacetic acid consists of 4 carbon atoms. So once again I will tell, pyruvate S is 3 carbon, T is 6 carbon, and U is 4 carbon. So in that aspect, if you see your answer should be option number 1 here. Option number 1 you can see on your screen. 3, 6 and 4 should be the answer for this question. Okay. So here I have given a diagrammatic representation of Krebs cycle so that students can recall by seeing this diagram. So you can see here, students, what happens. Pyruvate converting into acetyl CoA, liberation of carbon dioxide. Acetyl CoA enters the cycle, combines with oxaloacetic acid, okay, forming the first compound, that is citrate here, and then citrate converts to isocitrate. Enzyme is aconitase, which is also a 6 carbon molecule. Isocitrate undergoes dehydrogenation and of course simultaneous decarboxylation. So here one CO2 is lost, forming alpha ketoglutarate. Same step is repeated once again, where alpha ketoglutarate also undergoes dehydrogenation and liberation of carbon dioxide, decarboxylation to form succinyl CoA, which is a 4C compound. Succinyl CoA, okay, in the presence of GDP, that is guanosine diphosphate, will be forming one molecule of GTP and forming succinate, wherein coenzyme is liberated in the same step. So here the enzyme is succinyl CoA synthetase. So here this is a very important step of Krebs cycle, which is also called as substrate level phosphorylation. where you can see a GTP molecule is formed here. And students, this GTP can convert to ATP later. So this step is the only step of substrate level phosphorylation in Krebs cycle, a very important step. Succinyl-CoA to succinate where ATP is formed. Now further succinate converts to fumarate with the help of enzyme succinate dehydrogenase, and this is again a dehydrogenation where one FAD molecule is reduced to FADH2. Whereas here, during conversion of isocitrate to alpha ketoglutarate and the subsequent reaction, what you have seen is one NADH is formed in each of these two steps. And here one FADH2 is liberated in the step wherein succinate converts to fumarate, and fumarate later converts to malate, and this is a hydration step. One water molecule is consumed or utilized here, and the last step is malate is converting to oxaloacetate, which is also a dehydrogenation where one more NADH molecule is formed here, and ultimately resulting in the formation of a 4C compound, and this oxaloacetate will be repeating the cycle or continuing the cycle again and again. So you should know that from one molecule of glucose, two Krebs cycle will be operating because two pyruvic acid molecules will be liberated. So this is the overall view I have given here so that it is easy for you to solve the questions. Let us come to the next question, number 34 here. The conversion of pyruvic acid to acetyl-CoA is a type of reaction called as reductive deamination, oxidative dehydrogenation, oxidative decarboxylation, and reductive decarboxylation. So here students, again what you have seen in the previous slide, the first step, pyruvate to acetyl-CoA. So what is that process called as? That process is nothing but oxidative decarboxylation. Why oxidative decarboxylation? Because pyruvic acid is a 3C compound, acetyl-CoA is a 2C compound, and one molecule of carbon dioxide is lost during this process, and simultaneously pyruvate is oxidized to acetyl-CoA. So two steps are occurring simultaneously. One is oxidation, one more is decarboxylation. Hence the step is oxidative decarboxylation, and you all know that one NADH molecule is produced in this step. So option 3 is the answer here. Let us go to the next question. In the conversion of pyruvic acid to acetyl-CoA, how many NADH2 molecules are produced per molecule of glucose? Okay, very simple question here. So one molecule of glucose gives two molecules of pyruvic acid. So each pyruvic acid will liberate one NADH2. So straight away, your answer should be option number 3, that is 2 NADH2 molecules are produced here. Okay, 1 for 1. The ratio is 1:1. Since there are 2 pyruvic acid, so 2 NADH2 molecules will be liberated during this step. Option 3 is the right answer for this question. Question number 36. In Krebs cycle, ATP is formed directly during the conversion of. Yes, this is a very important step. I have said you a few minutes back only. Where is ATP formed directly? Okay, option 1, succinyl-CoA to succinic acid, succinic acid to fumaric acid, fumarate to malate, and alpha ketoglutarate to succinyl-CoA. So what is the answer, students? For this, the ATP is formed directly in the first step, that is succinyl-CoA to succinic acid, and this step is called as substrate level phosphorylation. I have already said you, this is the only substrate level phosphorylation in Krebs cycle where you get one molecule of GTP first, and then that GTP converts to ATP. Okay, so option 1 is the answer. Other options also, let us see. Succinate to fumarate. So succinate to fumarate, what is that? Succinate to fumarate, it is a dehydrogenation reaction. Fumarate to malate, fumaric acid is converting into malic acid, it is a hydration reaction. Alpha ketoglutarate to succinyl-CoA. Alpha ketoglutarate to succinyl-CoA, what is this? It is a decarboxylation reaction where is 5C is converted to 4C. So here the answer is option number 2. Okay. Now let us go to the next questions. Question number 37 here you can see on the screen. Complete the cycle. The question is you have to complete the cycle by identifying the different labelings here. If you just see the options here, A, B, C labelings, you have to find out. So let us see where is A, B, and C. So this is the Krebs cycle you are well aware of. Pyruvate converting to acetyl-CoA. Acetyl-CoA combines with 4C to form 6C. Citric acid. Citric acid forming alpha ketoglutarate with the liberation of A. So what is this A, children? This A is nothing but carbon dioxide molecule, because 6C is converting into 5C. So definitely one CO2 is lost here. So A is carbon dioxide. Okay. So now let us see where is B. Alpha ketogluteric acid converting to succinic acid, and there in that glucose B is liberated. So what is this B? B is again carbon dioxide, because 5C is converted to 4C. So B is again nothing but one molecule of CO2. So A is CO2, B is CO2. Let us find out where is this C. Yes, C is here. So what is C? Malic acid is converting to oxaloacetic acid. So what is this step? Malate to oxaloacetate is nothing but an oxidation or dehydrogenation step, we say, where NAD plus is converted to NADH plus H plus. So C is what? NADH plus H plus. This is the cofactor which is reduced coenzyme, not cofactor, I'm sorry, reduced coenzyme which is liberated here. So C is NADH. So what is A? CO2, B CO2, and C is NADH. Let us see the options. Option 1, A CO2, B CO2, C NADH plus H. Yes, of course, this first option itself is the right answer for this question number 37. Let us come to question number 38. Pyruvate dehydrogenase is used to convert. Okay. So what is this pyruvate dehydrogenase? This pyruvate dehydrogenase is converting pyruvate to acetyl-CoA. This step, you also know that this step is called as link reaction or gateway step of aerobic pathway, we can say, or the link reaction of Krebs cycle or aerobic respiration, where pyruvic acid is converted to acetyl-CoA. Option 4 is the answer. Okay. And this pyruvate dehydrogenase requires many different coenzymes. You should know the different components are TPP, thymine pyrophosphate, lipoic acid is required, magnesium ions are required. So it is a multi-enzyme complex, okay, which converts pyruvate to acetyl-CoA. Pyruvate to glucose would be wrong. Glucose to pyruvate is glycolysis. Many steps are involved there. Pyruvic acid to lactic acid. Yes, again, pyruvic acid to lactic acid is anaerobic respiration or lactic acid fermentation, we say. And in this step, which is the enzyme required? The enzyme is lactate dehydrogenase. I'm repeating my words. For option 3, the enzyme is lactate dehydrogenase. For option 4, the enzyme is our question itself, that is pyruvate dehydrogenase. Option 4 is the answer. Next question, which of the following is not the component of pyruvate dehydrogenase complex? Yes, in the previous question just now I have said pyruvate dehydrogenase is a multi-enzyme complex which requires the aid of many different coenzymes and cofactors. The question is, which is not the component? Option 1, ferric iron component or iron cofactor. Option 2, lipoic acid. Option 3, TPP, thymine pyrophosphate. And option 4 is magnesium ion. Students, option 1, Fe2 plus is not a component of PDH complex. Okay. Whereas 2, 3, and 4, all these are required for the activity of pyruvate dehydrogenase enzyme. Option 1 is the answer for this question. Let us come to the next question. Between which of the following stages GTP is formed by substrate level phosphorylation, succinate to fumarate, alpha ketoglutarate to succinate, and oxalosuccinate to glutarate, succinyl-CoA to succinic acid? This question is repeated, means in a different way it was asked few questions back. So I'll directly come to the answer. The answer is succinyl-CoA to succinic acid, where GTP is formed, I have already said, which later converts to ATP. So option 4 is the answer for this question. Question number 41. Which of the following is not a part of Krebs cycle? Okay, so you have to answer which is not a part of Krebs cycle. Option 1, dehydrogenation. Option 2, acetylation. Option 3, oxidative phosphorylation. Option 4 is decarboxylation. So students, you have to be very careful here. Option 1, dehydrogenation is never will never be the answer here, because many steps dehydrogenations occur in Krebs cycle. 1 is not the answer. Acetylation. Yes, acetylation occurs prior to entry of acetyl-CoA into the Krebs cycle. So this can be your answer. Whereas option 3, oxidative oxidative phosphorylation. Definitely this is the answer, because here this question has two options, 2 and 3 both can act as the answers. I'm repeating my words. For this question, option 2 and option 3 both can become the answers. Here it is ambiguous. Why acetylation is the answer? Because before starting of the Krebs cycle, acetylation is completed, acetyl group, okay, is added, where this is not a part of Krebs cycle. In the Krebs cycle, acetyl group is not added anywhere, so this becomes that's why this is the answer. Whereas option 3, oxidative phosphorylation occurs in ETS, electron transport chain. It does not occur during the Krebs cycle. Okay, so both 2 and 3 you can tick here. Option 4, decarboxylation is not the answer, because multiple times decarboxylation occurs in the Krebs cycle. So 41, option 2 and 3 both you can go for. Let us come to the next question. Which of the following is correct sequence in Krebs cycle? Okay, students, you have already seen the cycle which I have explained few minutes back. You have to identify the correct sequence here. Let us see the options. Isocitric acid converting to oxalosuccinic acid and then converting to alpha ketogluteric acid. Option 2, oxalosuccinate converting to isocitrate converting to alpha ketoglutarate. Option 3, alpha ketoglutarate, isocitrate, oxalosuccinate, isocitrate, alpha ketoglutarate, oxalosuccinate. So the answer is, proper sequence is isocitric acid, which is a 6C compound, converts to an intermediate compound oxalosuccinic acid, which is an intermediate, and that converts into alpha ketoglutarate. You should know that oxalocitric acid 6C, oxalosuccinic acid also 6C, and alpha ketogluteric acid is 5C. Option 1 is the right answer for this question number 42. Now, question number 43. Krebs cycle starts with the formation of 6 carbon compounds by reaction between malic acid and acetyl-CoA, succinic acid and pyruvic acid, fumaric acid and pyruvate, acetyl-CoA and oxaloacetic acid. Very simple question. Krebs cycle is starting with the formation of 6C compound. Which is that 6C compound? Citric acid. How it is formed? It is formed by the combination of acetyl-CoA and oxaloacetic acid. 2C combines with 4C, resulting compound will be 6C. So option 4 is the answer for this question 43. Question number 44. Pyruvic acid before combining with oxaloacetic acid of TCA cycle changes into, again very simple, it changes into what? It changes into definitely acetyl-CoA. Option number 1 is the answer. So these are the simple questions. I am not sparing much time on such questions, students. Direct answers you can find out. I'll go to the next question, question number 45. In Krebs cycle, there is formation of, yes. Now this is a important question you have to understand. In Krebs cycle, formation of 34 ATP takes place, 38 ATPs, 15 ATPs from each acetyl-CoA, and 12 ATPs from each acetyl-CoA. So here you have to calculate and answer this. 34 ATP takes place totally would be wrong, because the net gain itself from entire aerobic respiration, the net gain we say either we get 36 or 38 ATP molecules depending upon prokaryotes or eukaryotic cells. Okay. So 34 cannot be the answer, because only Krebs cycle does not contribute to 34 ATPs. Glycolysis also has contribution. Link reaction also has contribution. So option 1 is wrong. Similarly, 38 also is wrong, because entire 38 are never contributed by the Krebs cycle. 1 and 2 both are wrong. Now let us go to option 3. 15 ATPs from each acetyl-CoA. So now you have to calculate, children. 1 acetyl-CoA gives us how many ATPs? Okay. When acetyl-CoA gives us how many ATPs? So one cycle, that means one round of Krebs cycle you have to understand. So in one round of Krebs cycle, if you just see the diagram, in one round of Krebs cycle, yes, I'll just go back. Yes, you can see here, how many NADH will be formed in one round? Acetyl, you have to start from acetyl-CoA, students, okay, not from pyruvate. You have to start from here. So how many NADH you get? You have to calculate 1 NADH here, 1 NADH here, and 1 NADH here. So totally 3 NADH. I hope you are understanding. 3 NADH, 1 plus 1 plus 1. So 3 NADH, 1 NADH gives us 3 ATPs. So 3 NADH will give us 9 ATPs. So in one Krebs cycle, NADH contribution is 9 ATPs. Okay. Now, how many FADH2? 1 FADH2. 1 FADH2 gives us how many ATPs? 2 ATPs. So here we ended up with 9. 9 plus 2, 11. 9 plus 2, 11. I hope you are understanding. And one more, this ATP you have to add up. Okay. Which ATP? The one which is formed from GTP. So 9 plus 2, 11 plus 1, 12. I hope it is clear. 12 ATPs. So one round of Krebs cycle from one molecule of acetyl-CoA will give us how many ATPs? We are here in this question. 12 ATPs from each acetyl-CoA. So your answer should be option number 4. Next question, the reaction catalyzing the formation of acetyl coenzyme A from pyruvic acid is known as. Now, what is this reaction? Link reaction, gateway reaction, oxidative decarboxylation, all of these. So, what should be the answer? Students, option number 4, all of these, because I said it is also called as link reaction. It's also known as gateway step, and definitely it is oxidative decarboxylation. So, option 4 is the answer. Next question, how many cycles of Krebs cycles are required to produce one molecule of FADH2? Very simple, but simply to confuse it, in this way it is, the question is asked, how many Krebs cycles are required to produce one FADH2? So answer should be straight away one Krebs cycle, because you know that one cycle will give us one FADH2. Same if it is asked for NADH2, you should know that one Krebs cycle will give us 3 NADH2. Okay, so in that way you have to understand. Question number 53. Which of the following is the correct output produced in one turn of Krebs cycle? Okay, one turn of Krebs cycle. Let us see the option. 4 NADH2, 1 GTP, 1 FADH2. 4 NADH2, 1 GTP and 1 FADH2. Option 2, 3 NADH2, 1 ATP and 1 FADH2. Option 3, 4 NADH2, 2 GTP and 2 FADH2. 2 NADH2, 1 ATP and 2 FADH2. Question asked is one turn. You should understand only one turn. So only one turn. You are starting from acetyl-CoA, not from the link reaction. Hence, you will get 3 NADH2. Just now I have said, shown with the help of diagram. 1 ATP you get here and 1 FADH2 you get in one round. So your option 2 must be the answer for this question. Okay. So now what I will do, students, I'll go to the, one second. Few questions I'll discuss here, right? And then we can go to the next subtopic. Okay, question number 54 I'll discuss. Which one of the following statements correctly describes the relationship between the Krebs cycle and the electron transport pathway? You have to identify the correct statement here which describes the relationship. Krebs cycle releases H plus used by electron transport. So what do you think about this statement? Krebs cycle does not release free H plus which are used by electron transport. Electron transport does not use H plus. Electron transport transfers only electrons. Okay, of course, there are some carriers which also require protons, but the purpose of electron transport is not to use up these protons. So option 1 is wrong. Option 2, the electron transport pathway obtains electrons from the CO2 produced by the Krebs cycle. Totally wrong. CO2 which is produced during the Krebs cycle is liberated into the atmosphere. It is not donating any electrons for the electron transport pathway. Option 2 is totally wrong. Option 3, the Krebs cycle and electron transport pathway both produce ATP. So what about this statement? Does Krebs cycle produce ATP? Yes, your answer should be 100% yes, because during substrate level phosphorylation, excuse me, one ATP is definitely produced. And ETS definitely will produce ATP in electron because complex 5 is part of ETS which produces ATP. So this statement is right. Option 4, NADH plus H plus produced by Krebs cycle is used to make ATP by electron transport. Option 4 is also right. So students, for this question again the answer is ambiguous. Option 3 and option 4 both can be the answer for this question. Okay, so option 3 and 4 both are the right statements for this question. Next question, all of these events occur in the conversion of pyruvic acid to acetyl-CoA except. Okay, production of carbon dioxide, yes. Whether it occurs or no, yes. Production of CO2 occurs. Okay, conversion of 3C molecule into 2C molecule, yes, definitely. Pyruvate dehydrogenase enzyme complex requires several factors like magnesium ions, NAD plus coenzyme A are needed. Yes, 100%. This statement is right because PDH enzyme requires Mg. Magnesium ions, it requires coenzyme NAD because when NADH is produced there, it also requires coenzyme A, is right. Site of the reaction is cytosol, is totally wrong. Why it is wrong? Why it is wrong? Because site of the reaction is mitochondria, not cytosol. Link reaction occurs inside the mitochondria, not in the cytoplasm. So option 4 is the answer for this question. Okay, now students, what we will do, we'll go to the next subtopic in this chapter, that is ETS and oxidative phosphorylation, electron transport chain or electron transport system and oxidative phosphorylation. Let us first glance here. This is the diagram I have taken from your NCERT book. Okay, you can refer it. So what is this diagram? ETS diagram. ETS, electron transport system, located on the inner mitochondrial membrane. Okay, as you can see in the diagram, and there are 5 complexes. Complex 1 NADH dehydrogenase, complex 2 succinate dehydrogenase, complex 3 cytochrome BC1 complex, complex 4 cytochrome C oxidase complex, and complex 5 is ATPase complex. So here what is happening, you see this is the matrix of mitochondria, this is the intermembrane space. Complex 1 is accepting protons and electrons from NADH. NADH will pump 4 protons into the intermembrane space, and it transfers electrons to series of electron carriers like FMN, APS, iron sulfur protein. Who is accepting this is ubiquinone, converting into ubiquinol, okay, which is a mobile electron carrier. Ubiquinone, and then ubiquinone can also accept electrons and protons from FADH, that is complex 2. If from either side it can accept and then transfer the electrons to complex 3 here, which is cytochrome B, FES and cytochrome C1 complex. And finally here with complex 3 also you can see 4 protons thrown into the intermembrane space, and electrons are passed to the mobile electron carrier, that is cytochrome C, which is located on the outer side of the inner membrane, and then transfers the electrons to complex 4 here, okay, which is a having 2 copper centers, CuA and COB, which we designate, and cytochrome A and A3. Cytochrome A3 is the last electron carrier which donates the electrons to the terminal electron acceptor. I repeat my words, very important. Terminal electron acceptor. Who is the terminal electron acceptor? It is nothing but molecular oxygen. That's why this step is called as terminal oxidation. Okay, it accepts the electron which are donated by NADH and FADH2, and simultaneously it picks up protons from the matrix, and molecular oxygen is converted into H2O, which is called as metabolic water. So this step is called terminal oxidation. Last step here, where last step of aerobic respiration we say, because why aerobic? Because oxygen is playing a role here in this last step, converting into water. So this is a very, very important step. So we have seen 4 complexes. Now the last complex is ATPase complex. Here you know that students, already in photosynthesis chapter and earlier the chapters we have seen that a proton gradient establishes across the inner membrane. So these protons which are thrown out into the space must be taken back into the matrix, and these are done with the help of this enzyme, that is the F0 F1 complex, which is an ATP synthase. This utilizes the energy of proton, and F1 undergoes a conformational change in its structure. A 3-dimensional structural change occurs here, and that converts ADP plus inorganic phosphate to ATP, and during that process protons are thrown into the matrix by the process of facilitated diffusion. Okay, due to the time factor, I'm not going into much detail about this children. I've just given a brief highlight of this topic, this particular diagram, because already in the last year session we have discussed this, and you can just recall. Now I'll go back to the questions. Okay, so here we were given below is a diagram showing ATP synthesis during aerobic respiration. Select the options for A, B, C, D. Labeling. What is A, students? I said A is nothing but ADP combines with inorganic phosphate to produce ATP. So A is nothing but ATP here. And what is this B? B is, where is B? B. Yes, B is here. B is nothing but the F1 complex or the F1 component of this ATPase complex. B is F1. C is inorganic phosphate. D is what? D is nothing but protons, 2 H plus, and E is nothing but the inner mitochondrial membrane. So in that aspect, if you see, I think option 3, if you just see ATP, F1, and then inorganic phosphate, 2 protons, and inner, option 3 is the answer for this question. Okay. Now let us go to the next question. Question number 62. Net gain of ATP molecules during aerobic respiration is. Okay. During aerobic respiration, the net gain is 36 molecules. However, in some cases, I told that it can be even 38 molecules also. Okay. It can be even 38 molecules, whereas the differences arises from prokaryotes to eukaryotes. So as per your NCERT book, you have to answer option 2, 36 molecules should be the answer. Then 63, question number 63, the last or terminal cytochrome in respiratory chain is, yes, I have already said this, which is the terminal cytochrome which donates its electrons to the oxygen, that is the terminal acceptor. It is nothing but cytochrome A3. Option 2 is the right answer here. Cytochrome A3 is the terminal electron carrier which donates its oxygen, readily accepts the electrons directly from cytochrome A3. Okay, cytochrome C and cytochrome B are the components of complex 3. Okay, whereas A and A3 are the components of complex 4. Okay, so option 2 is the answer. Question number 64. The ultimate electron acceptor of respiration in an aerobic organism is, yes, what is the answer? Direct answer you can quote for this. Which is the ultimate electron acceptor? Multiple times I said it is nothing but oxygen. Oxygen is getting reduced here by accepting electrons and protons, finally converting into H2O. And this is called as the terminal step of aerobic respiration. Option 2 is the answer. Question number 65. Identify the correct combination with respect to ETS. Did you find out the correct names here, students? I have already said how many complexes are there in the ETS chain. I said there are 5 complexes. Their names are also very important. Complex 1 is NADH dehydrogenase complex. This is right. Complex 2 is ATP synthase. This is wrong. Complex 2 is not ATP synthase. Complex 2 is what? What is the name of complex 2? Complex 2 is succinate dehydrogenase complex. It is not ATP synthase. Complex 3 is cytochrome BC1 is right. Complex 4 is cytochrome C oxidase is right. So complex B is basically wrong here. So what is the correct combination? A, C and D. Option 4 is the right answer. Question number 66. In the electron transport chain during terminal oxidation, the cytochrome which donates electrons to oxygen. Again, a repeated question here. So what should be the answer? A3. So typing error here. Cytochrome A3, not A2. It should be A3. Option 3 is the right answer. Whereas if you just see the other options, B, I have already said B is the component of complex 3. Cytochrome C is the mobile electron carrier. Plastocyanin comes in. Can you just recall where does it come? Plastocyanin comes in photosynthesis. Okay, it comes in the process of photosynthesis during the photophosphorylation process. It acts as an electron carrier. It transfers electrons from PS2 to PS1. Not related to this chapter. Okay. Now question number 67. Which of the following the complex 5 of ATS of the inner mitochondrial membrane? Which is the complex 5, students? Option 4. I'll come to directly. ATP synthase. Question number 68. ETS is present in stroma, matrix of mitochondria, inner membrane of mitochondria, outer membrane of mitochondria. So where is ETS present? ETS is present in the inner mitochondrial membrane. Option 3. Inner mitochondrial membrane. Oxygen acts as terminal hydrogen acceptor, terminal electron acceptor, both 1 and 2, none of these. So what should be the answer? Oxygen acts as terminal electron acceptor. Option 2 should be the answer. Okay. So terminal hydrogen acceptor, you cannot say why, because the hydrogens are taken from the matrix of mitochondria. Of course, oxygen also accepts hydrogen, no doubt. But you cannot properly say terminal acceptor because it is taking protons from the matrix. Okay, whereas it is taking electrons from the sequence of the ETS protein. So option 2 is the answer. Next, which type of phosphorylation occurs in mitochondria? Oxidative phosphorylation, substrate level phosphorylation, okay, and photophosphorylation, and last one is both 1 and 2. So what phosphorylation occurs in mitochondria? So definitely in mitochondria, because overall mitochondria you have to see oxidative phosphorylation occurs in the ETS, that is in the inner membrane, no doubt about this. Substrate level phosphorylation also occurs during the Krebs cycle, no doubt about this. So both option 1 and 2 are the right answer. So option 4 is the right answer for this question. Question number 71. Which of the following is not true for oxidative phosphorylation? You have to find out the wrong statement here. Option 1. It uses oxygen as the initial electron donor. Is it right? No. Totally it is wrong. It is not using oxygen as an electron donor. It is using oxygen as a terminal electron acceptor. So option 1 is wrong here. It involves the redox reactions of electron transport chain. 100% statement is right, because there are many redox reactions which are going on in the throughout the chain there, because there are many conversions in the many cytochrome proteins, iron sulfur containing proteins, where they undergo reversible changes like iron, if you say FeS proteins, ferric to ferrous state and vice versa. Similarly, cupric to cuprous states and vice versa. So redox reactions are going on. It involves an ATP synthesis located in the inner mitochondrial membrane, that is right. It depends on chemiosmosis. 100% right. Chemiosmosis means what, students? Chemiosmosis means the difference in the concentration of proton, that is a establishment of proton gradient, and protons will move from high concentration to low concentration via facilitated diffusion using the energy of protons. So this is called chemiosmotic hypothesis. Okay, so option 1 is the answer for this question. Question number 72. Electron carriers, molecules and cytochrome are reduced as they pass electrons onto the next molecule. Wrong. Option 1 is wrong. They are not reduced when they pass electrons. They are oxidized. Reverse is given. When they pass electrons, they get oxidized. They are reduced when they accept electrons. So reverse is given. So option 1 is wrong there. Transfer electrons between electron carrier complexes. 100% right. Shuttle protons to ATP synthesis. No, they don't shuttle protons. They never shuttle protons. They only throw the protons in the space. They are found in the outer mitochondrial membrane, also is wrong. So the answer is transfer electrons between the electron carrier complexes. Option 2 is the right answer. So students, now I'll come to the very last part, so that few questions I will discuss here on this topic and wind up. In anaerobic organisms, the only process in respiration is, okay, anaerobic organisms, the only process in respiration is, which is the only process in respiration? ETS, Krebs cycle, oxidative phosphorylation and glycolysis. Okay, so what should be the answer for this question? Whether it is ETS? No, ETS is not there. Krebs cycle is also not there. Oxidative phosphorylation is also not there. Okay, glycolysis is the only process in the respiration. Option number 4 is the answer. 77. If fermentation is allowed to proceed in a closed vessel, the gas pressure will develop due to production of oxygen. Is it oxygen? No. What is fermentation? Fermentation is nothing but a sort of anaerobic respiration where oxygen is not used during respiration, and that results usually in the liberation of CO2 if it is alcoholic fermentation. If it is lactic acid fermentation, CO2 is also not evolved. Okay, but question is asked, if it is doing in a, if it is carried out in a closed vessel, whether oxygen is produced? No, option 1 is totally wrong. Gas pressure will develop due to the production of carbon dioxide. Yes, if it is a closed vessel, then definitely pressure will develop due to the evolution of CO2. Definitely, because when alcohol is produced, CO2 is evolved simultaneously. So option 2 would be the right answer. Vacuum will be created due to utilization. Totally wrong. Vacuum can never be created here. No change will take place would be wrong. Option 2 is the right answer. Identify A and B in the following diagram. Students, this is the diagrammatic representation of anaerobic respiration. Glycolysis proceeds via its normal sequence, okay, sequence of reactions. And here you are getting a molecule that is nothing but, here the first molecule A, that is nothing but the pyruvic acid. A is pyruvic acid here. Pyruvic acid is converting into what? Pyruvic acid can convert into basically either it can convert to lactic acid or it can convert to ethanol plus carbon dioxide. Okay, so here what you have to understand is what is A, B and C. What is A, B and C you have to understand here. Okay, so here let us see once again A, B and C. Okay, so A, 3-phosphoglyceric acid converting into A is converting into B. Yes, A is converting into B. So something is converting into pyruvic acid. So B is pyruvic acid here. 100% B is pyruvic acid. What is A then? 100% A should be the prior compound, that is phosphoenol pyruvic acid, PEP. A is PEP, B is pyruvic acid, and there are two steps here that also you must know. Which are these two steps here? Pyruvic acid converting to aldehyde first, and aldehyde is then converting into ethanol. Whereas lactic acid conversion involves single step. Alcoholic fermentation involves two steps. Okay, aldehyde and then alcohol. Here direct lactic acid. So A is phosphoenol pyruvic acid and B is pyruvic acid. So option 4 is the answer for this question. Question number 79, let us see the number of glucose molecules required for to produce 38 ATP molecules under anaerobic condition by a yeast cell. Okay, so here you have to understand number of glucose molecules, how many are required to produce 38 ATP molecules. Okay, under anaerobic. First thing you should understand, students, whenever there is anaerobic condition and any anaerobic, whether it is lactic or alcoholic fermentation, it gives only 2 ATP molecules per molecule of glucose. What did I say? Only 2 ATP molecules per molecule of glucose. One glucose molecule will give 2 ATPs. Okay. So question is 38 ATPs. So how many glucose you want? Definitely 19 glucose molecules. Half. Okay. When there are 19 glucose molecules, they will yield 38 ATP. How only 2? Because that is during glycolysis only. That substrate level phosphorylation you are getting ATPs, only those 2 ATPs are produced during anaerobic condition. One NADH that is produced during glycolysis is used up, so it does not yield any ATP. So the net result is only 2 for anaerobic condition. Next question, in fermentation, yeast secretes which of the following enzyme? Definitely zymase. Okay, zymase is the enzyme which is secreted by the yeast. Zymase is the older term actually for glycolytic enzymes. Actually, zymase is a mixture of many different enzymes. Today it has come to known. Earlier, glycolytic pathway was not known, so the term was used as zymase. Okay, so option 2 is the answer. Invertase is one which can convert glucose, sucrose to glucose to fructose. Okay, dehydrogenase for oxidation. Enolase, it comes in glycolytic pathway. Okay, enolase enzyme, it comes in glycolytic pathway. So that is one. So option 2 is the answer for this question. Yeast poisons themselves to death when alcohol concentration reaches 2. NCERT statement. When does yeast die? When do they die? When the concentration reaches to 13%. Okay, so maximum concentration what they can tolerate is 13%. Once it crosses, yeast will die off. So however, in many alcoholic beverages, we raise this concentration by the process of distillation, whereas non-distilled beverages will have maximum 12 to 13% of alcohol. Distilled beverages can have more than that also, like 40-45%, even up to 50% of alcohol by the process of distillation. So your answer is option 3, 13%. Lactic acid fermentation occurs in some bacteria, muscle cells under anaerobic condition, both 1 and 2 aerobic condition. What is the answer? Lactic acid fermentation occurs in bacteria. Yes, which bacteria? Lactobacilli. Muscle cells, 100%. You know that muscle cells, when there is a deficiency of oxygen, they respire anaerobically to produce lactic acid, and that leads to fatigue in the muscles. So both 1 and 2 is the answer. Question number 83. How much percentage of energy is released in fermentation? Fermentation means what? Anaerobic respiration. How much percentage? The efficiency of fermentation is only less than 7% of aerobic respiration. Because, how you can say less than 7%? Because you know that aerobic respiration, if you recall the reaction, 686 kilocalories are liberated for 1 molecule of glucose. Whereas for alcohol fermentation, only 59 kilocalories are liberated. For lactic acid fermentation, approximately 36 kilocalories are are liberated. So 39 and 56 aggregate, if you take children and aggregate, and if you compare with 686 value, then you will end up with less than 7%. So aerobic respiration yield is very high. Anaerobic respiration yield is very low, because you know that only 2 ATPs are produced per glucose molecule. Which of the following is incorrect about fermentation? It accounts for partial breakdown of glucose. Yes, it is right. Net gain is only 2 ATP, 100% right. Many times I said this. NADH to NAD formation reaction is vigorous. Wrong. This is wrong. This reaction is not vigorous. Okay, this reaction is a slow process, and where it is used, NADH is used in lactic acid fermentation and formation, and NADH is also used during the conversion of aldehyde to alcohol. So statement 3 is the incorrect statement. It occurs in cytoplasm is right, and fermentation occurs in cytoplasm. Option 3 is the answer. So yes, another 2-3 questions will take and wind up here, because all of the major topics I have covered here. So we can wind up. Let us see the last slide. Conversion of pyruvic acid to ethyl alcohol is facilitated by carboxylase, dehydrogenase, decarboxylase, and dehydrogenase phosphatase. So pyruvic acid is converted to ethyl alcohol. Which are the main enzymes involved here? The first enzyme is decarboxylase, because pyruvate is a 3C converting to acetaldehyde 2C. Carbon dioxide is evaporated, lost here, decarboxylase, and next one is dehydrogenase. So we say pyruvate decarboxylase and alcohol dehydrogenase. These are the two enzymes which do this conversion. Option 3 is the right answer. Question number 86. What is the total gain of ATP during anaerobic respiration? Yes, many times I have said 1 molecule of ATP, 2 molecules of ATP, 4 and 8. So what should be the answer? 2 molecules of ATP should be the answer for this question. Question number 87. Which intermediate compound is involved in the synthesis of amino acids? These are the intermediates of Krebs cycle, students: malic acid, citric, alpha-ketogluteric acid, and isocitric acid. Which is involved in synthesis of amino acid is alpha-ketogluteric acid, is the major intermediate from which many different amino acids are synthesized. Option 3 is the answer. Okay. So with this, I'll wind up this chapter here. Almost all the subtopics I have covered here for this chapter. Okay, respiration in plants is now completed. Okay, thank you.